All right, everybody. So this should be the first lecture for the summer session of my CPSC-06 class. I believe there was another online session of CPSC-06, but that was taught by another instructor. I think that one was taught by Alex Stoikov, and me, I am Greg Hogan, which, yeah, there it says it right there. So I'm one of the two full-time computer science instructors here at this class or at this school, I mean. And but we do have a part-time instructor here that's a full-time instructor somewhere else that sometimes teaches this particular class. Anyway, all we're going to be doing in this video is going over the course policies and making sure that you have some idea of what you should be doing for the first couple of days. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So what we see here, just this is the home page. So you must have come here if you're seeing this video, I would imagine. So you've seen this. This is not going to stay the home page all semester. I'm going to change this in a day or two. But for right now, this is just kind of the introductory information. So this course runs from June 29th, which is today as I'm recording the video, to August 6th. So that's 6 weeks, I think. So this is a 6-week class, and I'll talk more about that later. But that's basically we go 3 times as fast as a normal class, roughly. Um, so the lectures are generally going to be pre-recorded, but I plan to do Zoom like hours throughout the week. Probably just 1 hour a day, 3 days a week is what my plan is for that. So this is the first one of those, I guess, although this is not particularly useful for you because you're not being able to ask questions or anything if I'm just babbling, and also there's nobody here. But what the Zoom hours will be for is for if you have questions or you want extra help or you want me to explain something again or whatever it is you want. Um, but I'll have a few of those every week. Generally, I think the plan is to do them like Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, and like skip Wednesday or something like that. That's the plan. So, what are you going to be doing in this class? Well, for each week, you're going to have a number of assignments that you complete, and we'll look at those in a little bit so you can see what those assignments are like. And that's about it, right? So you're going to have a number of assignments that you need to do every single week. And if you do all of those assignments, then you'll do fine in this class. And so this is typically a class where um, if you do your work, you pass the class. And if you don't do your work, you don't pass the class. Okay. Now there are exams, but there's only 2 exams. And the exams are multiple choice Canvas quizzes. And if you've been keeping up with the material at all, they're not very challenging because you get a practice exam, which is the same format. So you can go through and do the practice exam. And if anything was confusing, you could, make sure you know how to do it. And the practice exams you can take as many times as you want. And then when you go to take the real exam, then you get 2 tries at it. So you can try it once. And if your score is not good, you can take it again. And overall, the people who are, participating in the class, they all tend to get, 90% or something like that on there. A lot of perfect scores. So the exams are not, super intimidating in this class, which I think is good. And another thing you should know about the class is that nothing um, in this class is required for you to do it at a specific day or a specific time. Now, there are due dates. What I mean here is that it's never going to be the case like, exam one you have to take at 1 p.m. today, right? Like that's never going to happen. Um, every assignment is going to be, listed in the modules, and it'll always be due sometime in the future. So you have, time to plan out when you want to work on that assignment or when you want to take that test, and so on. So, nothing is kind of required you to do something at a specific time. Like these Zoom hours are not required attendance. The videos are recorded. that kind of stuff. Okay. Now it says for the first day, so this is the first day. It says I will be live on Zoom 1 to 2 p.m. It's 1:15, so pretty much that's what we're doing. I'll have, Zoom links on the main page, which is not this page, um, and also in various other places. So you'll be able to find the Zoom links in the future, although they're not there right now. It says the syllabus and the other course materials not up yet. That's because I wrote this the other day, but actually the syllabus is up. It's down here. What else? It says there will be a couple of quick assignments due during week one. There's actually only one due during week one. And it says if you do nothing during the first week, you'll be dropped from the class because I'll assume you're not a real student. Yeah, that's true. So we have a problem with kind of fraudulent students enrolling. It might be some kind of financial aid fraud or something like that. But so they want us to drop students that are not real students in the class. And so you do have an assignment that you need to do during this first week, and that's pretty much just to, make you do something so I can drop the students that don't do it. Um, Now, below that, you see a few links here, student resources, syllabus, and modules. I would recommend that you go to the modules page fairly often here. I know that students often just look at what's due and they only click on the links for the assignments that are due. But if you do that, you'll miss out on like the lecture videos and you'll miss out on other kinds of resources. Now, full disclosure here, I was trying to make this, trying to organize the modules right before this class started. And then my computer needed an update. And then that took like 20 minutes or something, a lot longer than I thought it was going to take. And so the way the modules page looks right now is not the way the modules page is going to look tomorrow because I will make it pretty and organized. But it's still there. And then there's the syllabus, which we're going to go over. I'm going to click on the modules link here. So like I said, this is not the way that it should look. Um, because we have like a big mess of stuff here in module one, and then we have module two, which is smaller and cleaner, and module three, which is also smaller and cleaner. So there's stuff that I need to do, like I need to kind of separate out kind of course, materials, or information, I should say, like that. And then, this should go up to the top, and then we can put the syllabus up there, maybe. And I'll be able to put this textbook up here and that kind of thing. I'll be able to put the office hours up here, but the office hours link has the wrong days and times. So let's click that. So I'm not going to spend forever doing this, but the idea here is that I should be doing this when you're not having to watch me, but I want this correct. So at least this is the current plan for office hours. We can change those times if people don't like them. Um, but this is what I was thinking. Why does it say twos instead of two? All right, let's go back to the modules here. So anyway, I will be organizing this today. And so the content that's actually on the lecture page is going to be more organized than it is now, and so on. Um, but this is what it looks like at the moment. And yeah, so let's just go ahead and look at the syllabus then. Um, but you can always go to the modules page and see like what's in each module, and that's going to be better than just relying on um, the list of assignments that's due currently. Now let's go into the syllabus, which is here, and we can look at it. So, of course, you should know what class you're in, right? So this is programming concepts. So if you don't know, um, CPSC 06 is one of our two first level programming classes. And so if you're a computer science major, you have to take either CPSC 06 or CPSC 14. And so the difference between them is that 06, which is this class, is a Java programming class, and CPSC 14 is a C++ programming class. Now, both of those programming languages are very similar, and so it doesn't really matter which one you take. And you can take this class or CPSC 14. And then when you want to take a second semester programming class, you could even switch which one you're doing when you take your second semester programming class. Um, because there's second semester C++ and there's second semester Java as well. Or you could take them both. It's all up to you. But this is the normal class that people start in if you're a computer science major. And it's the one that I teach. Now, of course, this is summer 2026, asynchronous online. That just means that you don't have to be here at a specific time. You could read the description of the course. It just says, computer science using a high level language. That language is the Java programming language for this class, which we're not going to get into today. But of course, lecture one is going to talk about that. And, you can see what we're going to do. So we're going to be designing programs, and development is going to be writing programs, and style, how you write your code, how you test your code, how you document your code, and we're going to learn how to perform specific tasks, and that's called algorithms. So algorithms are like methods of solving problems, and so you'll be solving problems using programming. So that's what this is. This is just the basic stuff you would expect in an introductory programming class. So you're not expected to have any programming experience going into this class. We should be starting from nothing. If you do have some programming before you start this class, then you might find the beginning a little bit slow. But just enjoy it while it's easy, right? It'll be it'll be fine. Although since this is a 6-week class, it's not going to stay slow for very long because it's such a short class. Now, you can find my information here as well. So you have my name and you have my email address here. But yeah, my phone number. This is the office phone in my office. But I don't really recommend that you call that just because I'm not going to be in my office. So if you do call that, it's just going to go to voicemail, and the voicemail is going to be on Zoom. So uh, you could do that, but it's probably just easier to write an email and email it to me rather than um, leave a phone message. Not a lot to say there. We have office hours. That link may or may not work right now. What do we need? Prerequisites and advisories. So you'll see that there's no real prerequisites for this class. It says, you should have like kind of an intermediate algebra level of math at least. That's not really because we do a lot of math in here. It's just that, we're going to be writing programs, and, one of the things we'll do when we're writing programs is, well, we could write a little program that, calculates some quantity, right? Like you could write a program that calculates the area of a circle, right? You could write a program that calculates the volume of a cylinder, something like that. And just to understand those math formulas that we're using, you should have some math in your background. But this isn't a math class, so it's not a super big deal. It says advisory of CPSC 01. That's kind of the most basic computer science class we teach here. So that's kind of being comfortable with computers pretty much. The student learning outcomes. Every course has student learning outcomes, and that's basically the main things that you're supposed to get out of the class. So we should be creating programs that do these things. Computation, input and output, conditional and iterative structures, blah, blah, blah. Um, Solve problems. Um, Learn something about the evolution of programming languages. That's probably what the first lecture you're going to see is. Um, Different forms of binding, visibility, scoping. That's a more advanced topic, but we'll talk about it towards the end of the class. And it says analyze basic industry standards pertaining to computer science and programming. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know if we're going to be analyzing anything, but we'll talk about how programming works in the real world, I suppose. And you can get more detailed description of topics in this course objectives down here. So I'm not going to go over that now. I'm just going to kind of scroll through it. Um, all right. Now, here we're going to get to the required textbook. And I don't know if this is the best. I keep trying to figure out how to write the section for the textbook in a way that makes sense to people. I have the wrong dates here, by the way. Um, so um, I don't have a good way of writing this. So I will just explain it. So our textbook is required, and it's a digital Zybook. So Zybook is the name of a company, and the book title is just the title of the class. So it's CPSC-06, Programming Concepts and Methodology 1. And I think that if I open a new tab and I type MCCD, um, like we go bookstore, and I try to pick this class. Let's see, buy book online. No, I do not need headphones. I want the book. Don't have an ID. So summer, and you don't need to do what I'm doing here. I'm just doing this just to double check that I think we're 102. I'm just doing this to make sure that the textbook is listed correctly, which it should be. So if I go here, it says Merced College, CPSC-06, Programming Concepts and Methodology 1. It does say summer 2026. And so this should be, the correct textbook here. Now, you wouldn't want to buy it like by following this link or anything. I'm just double checking that it was correct here, that it does have the summer version. Going back here, what do you need? So um, it says our textbook is a digital Zybook, and it says you can access it as follows. Click any Zybook assignment link. And then it says, do not go to the Zybook's website and create a new account. That's important. Don't do that. Um, you don't want to go to the Zybook site and try to make an account or anything like that, because if you do that, then it won't be connected to, the core, like your Canvas account at Merced College. So that's not allowed. You have to access the site from Canvas here, which I'll do in a second. Now, if I do that, actually, let's go home. No, let's go modules here. The assignments that are those Zybook assignments are the ones that are labeled like chapter 1 reading, chapter 1 homework, chapter 2 reading, chapter 2 homework, chapter 3 reading, chapter 3 homework. And so in theory, you could get to the Zybook site from any of those links, which will also be on the site, on the page where we have the lectures and things like that. You'll also have links to these assignments, but I can just click any of them. So I'll click like chapter 2 here, just cause, and it just says instructions, complete the participation activities in the week 2 chapter. And I click this, and it's opening up the Zybook. So if you follow one of those links, then it'll work the same way for you as it just did for me. The difference is when you come here the first time, you might have to like click through some stuff, to accept some terms and conditions or things like that. And when you get here, there'll be a box. I don't know, I can't show you what it looks like because I'm not a student, but there'll be some kind of box, I think, over here on the right-hand side, and it'll say something along the lines of like, you know, uh, buy access. It costs X number of dollars. Um, what is the number of dollars that it costs if you want to buy it directly? We could just see that, I think, because I can probably do this. Nope, that was the wrong one. This one. So the textbook here is going to be $69. So it looks like they raised it $4 in price um, from the last time. That's awesome. And so it says, students may begin subscribing from June 15th, which is already passed. And it says, you know, the cutoff to subscribe is August 7th. So that's actually after the end of the class. So at some point, you'll need to get access to this. Now, you do not necessarily need to pay for this $69 of your own money um, from the site because going back to the syllabus, as it says here, you have options. So uh, if you are purchasing the book with your own money, then what you want to do is click any zyBooks assignment in Canvas, and then it will tell you how to subscribe. And that would be that like $69 price tag that we just saw. Although I couldn't click to buy it because I'm not a student. The alternative is if you are enrolled in the Smart Start program. So the school enrolls every student in the Smart Start program. And in order to get out of that, you have to opt out. And so hopefully you know something about that if you've taken other classes here. Um, if you haven't, the brief description of the Smart Start program is that you pay $25 a unit for all of the units you're taking. So if you were taking 12 units, it'd be like $300. Um, you pay that, but in exchange for your $25 a unit, you get all of your course materials for free. Now, obviously, it's not free. You paid $300, but you get it for no additional charge, is the way to say it. And so the school has some kind of contract with the book publishers, and that's the way that works. Now, it doesn't really matter for this class which one you do. So we saw that the price is not $64, it's actually $69. So if you're not in Smart Start, you will pay $69 and get the zyBook. If you are in Smart Start, then what you'll do is you'll get your book um, through the My Materials link that's going to be linked in a few places. And so, if I was a student and I want to be in Smart Start, so I paid my $25 a unit, um, then I would just click on this thing that says My Materials. I can click it here. I think I can click it here. So it's here, it's over here. And if I was on the home page, um, oh, I guess I don't have it there, but I think I have it on the week one page. But regardless, the My Materials link is the link that you would use if you're in Smart Start. So you'd click on it. I'll click on it. And it says, been opened in a new window. I don't know if that'll happen to you, but I guess it's a pop-up. And it takes me over to this other site. Now, I'm an instructor, so this does not look the same for me as it would for you. So it's just telling me that I don't have anything to do here. But if I was a student, this page would be different. and I'd be able to, I think, select my materials, like my class over here, like on a panel. And if I selected the class, CPSC-06, then there'll be a place where you can find a code. And that code is what you would need in order to get access to the Zybook site. So again, I can't really show you exactly what it looks like, and I'm going to write up some better instructions, but those are your two choices. Purchase access directly for $69 or use Smart Start, in which case you get a code from the My Materials link in Canvas. Hopefully that made some kind of sense, but it probably will make more sense when you try to actually do it. So where is the syllabus? Let's click there. So that's the textbook. Oh, here it explains the Smart Start program, what it is. All right. Attendance policy. This is wrong. I forgot to edit this. This is not a face-to-face class. Attendance is not required. So ignore this. Um, but we do want to pay attention to the grade determination and cutoffs. So if you look here, you'll see how the course is going to be organized in terms of points for things. So we have tests. Um, do we have three tests? Yeah, I guess we do have three tests. I was going to say we had two, but we have three. So three tests. So those are those multiple choice exams I was telling you about. People, again, do well on those, but that's 30% of the points for the class. Then this category here that says research, industry standards, miscellaneous, this is just assignments that don't fall under another category. So the first week of class, you have to make a discussion board post. Like, I think it's called like introduce yourself. And that's going to be in this category, for example. It's just for assignments that don't have another category. And that is 10% of your grade. Um, and then the last three categories here, that's basically the bulk of the class. Like this is what you do every week. So every week you'll have labs to do, and those are going to be programming assignments that you complete on your own. And then every week you have Zybook reading, which is on that online homework system textbook thing that I was just trying to talk about. And that's 20% of your grade. Uh, and then you have the Zybook's homework assignments, which are also in that Zybook, that textbook thing that we have. And those are worth 15% of your grade. And now it's important to pay attention to the percentages here because if you look at it, the Zybook, which is that online textbook, 20% and 15%. So that's 35% of your grade right there. And that means if you don't purchase access to the Zybook or get it through the Smart Start program, you're going to be missing 35% of your grade. And that means you can't pass the class, right? Your highest, well, you could get a 65% if you had 100% on everything else. So that's not optional. And the reason I'm making a big deal out of that is because every semester we have students that sign up for the class, and the Zybook lets you access the first week, but not any week after that. And students will turn in some assignments for other in the other categories here, and they never purchase access or get access to the textbook, and so they just have a zero for 35% of their grade. Now, almost always students that have zeros for the reading and the homework also have a lot of, other missing assignments as well. But the point is that you do need the textbook for this class. It's not optional because 35% of your grade comes from work that you do inside of that textbook. Okay. Now, as it says down here, it says like learning activities and schedule. This is the 16-week class version of it that I need to modify. for you guys, but this is still accurate here. So usually every week you can expect a Zybook reading, um, a Zybook homework, and a programming lab. And then if there's any other assignments, those are just kind of extra, right? That's what goes into that miscellaneous category. And then some weeks, I guess 3 out of our 6, there will be the multiple choice Canvas exams that you'll have to complete. And again, everything's going to be open for multiple days. So, when there is an exam, you'll just see that it's on the schedule, and you'll be able to go take the practice exam whenever you want. And then after you do that, you'll be able to take the real exam whenever you want. There's no lockdown browser or anything like that. You just use whatever resources you want, and you'll take that. Um, so what you should be getting out of this, my unorganized rambling here, is that there's 3 things generally that you need to do every week: Zybook reading, Zybook homework, programming lab. And then some weeks there's other things. Okay. Um, so with that in mind, for this week, you would expect there to be some Zybook, some Zybook reading, some Zybooks homework, some programming labs, and then maybe something else. Now, again, I forgot to edit the dates in here, but the way that things are going to be due is exactly the way that I've set it here on the current assignments. So if I head over here to modules so that we can look at the current assignments, I'll go down to week 2, or module 2, I should say, um, and you'll see how it goes. So this has got the wrong date on it, but uh, I thought I set all the dates. Oh, I missed one. Okay, I see. So if you look at all of the assignments, then what you'll see is that the first assignments are due pretty much at the end of next week, which is, I'm fixing this one right here. Zoom stuff's in the way. Okay. So it's going to be pretty much like this. So next Wednesday, you have uh, chapter 1 reading is due next Wednesday. Chapter 2 reading is due next Wednesday. Chapter 3 reading is due next Wednesday. And then next Friday, we have chapter 1 homework is due next Friday. Chapter 2 homework is due next Friday. Chapter 3 homework is due next Friday. So basically, you have 3 chapters of Zybooks due next week. And everything that says reading is due Wednesday, and everything that says homework is due Friday. And I guess it doesn't hurt to explain the difference between reading and homework. So I'll go ahead and I'll head over there to show you specifically that in a second. And then the other things that we have are these labs where I had forgotten to set the due dates, which those must be the assignments where I was asked about making up missing assignments. These must be the quote unquote missing assignments. And so I'm just kind of making almost everything due on Fridays the week after we do them. So like Lab 0 due July 10th, Lab 1 due July 10th, Lab 2 due July 10th. So um, everything is pretty much due next week. That's currently assigned, and due mostly at the end of next week. So let's just take a quick peek and see what these assignments will look like. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to click one of them. I'm going to click chapter 2 reading, and I'll head over here. So once you have access to the Zybooks, then you'll be able to, get here too. And so what you get is that there's a bunch of chapters here, which these are organized by me. So, chapter one only has two sections. Chapter two has six sections. Chapter three has six sections. It just varies week by week how many sections it has. It's not always six. The only difference is that chapter one is small because in the normal like 16-week classes that we have, I'm assuming that students are not going to have access to the Zybook right away. And so I don't really give them much to do. But, you've got three of these due next week. So I'm going back in here to chapter two and what's the difference here between reading and homework, right? So if I go back here, we see chapter two reading, chapter two homework, and in Canvas, it'll say chapter two reading, and it says complete participation activities in the week two chapter, actually just chapter two. And then chapter two homework says complete the challenge activities. So the difference is challenge activities and participation activities. So participation activities is reading and challenge activities is homework. That's the difference. And so in Zybooks, every activity here is either a participation activity or it is a challenge activity, or it's nothing. So like this section here, section 2.1, if I scroll through here, it's trying to explain how to write comments in Java, which again, I jumped to chapter two, so we're missing stuff. You're not supposed to understand this right now. But it explains something here, it gives you something to look at, and then it says participation activity. So when you see participation activity, that means it's part of that reading assignment, which means you have to do this. And participation activities are always very quick and simple. And so like this one just has a couple things to check. So like I check here, it says correct. I check here, it says correct. Check here, it says correct. Check here, correct. Incorrect, right? So I got this one wrong because I'm just clicking. Well, guess what? You click the other option. Hey, now I got it correct. So these challenge activities are um, very quick typically. And you can just, you click the wrong thing, then you click the right thing. It doesn't matter, right? So I click through them, I get them all right. I've got credit for this assignment here, and that's part of my reading assignment. And so as you go through, there's a bunch of these, reading assignments, or sorry, participation activities. If it's not a participation activity or a challenge activity, you could ignore it. Um, right? Also, you can click through these pretty fast without actually reading, which is, not necessarily a good thing. But like you see, I got those. This one is an animation to watch. It's called a participation activity, so we still have to do it for points. But I can just click two times speed and let it do its animation. Have to keep clicking the play button here. Okay, I got it. Next one. Again, I'm not really reading, so I'm just clicking buttons until I get them correct. And then you'll see if you go down far enough, you reach an activity that's now called a challenge activity. So the activity that we did do, the participation activities, those are giving me points in my reading assignment. And the one that says challenge activity, that's giving me points in the homework assignment. So even though they're on the same page over here in Zybooks, they're counting towards different assignments here. And so the challenge activities are ones that actually have you typically either you're writing your own code or you are like trying to read and understand code that they wrote for you. And again, we did jump into chapter two instead of chapter one, and you haven't got a lecture on this, so this is not necessarily supposed to make sense to you. But I'll just click this challenge activity, click start. And the difference between the challenge activities and the participation activities is that you actually have to get it right here before you're going to get points. So, like if I follow the instructions on this one, it says on line 7, after the semicolon, write a single line comment that uses this and contains the words converting hours to minutes. So what they want is they want me to click down here on line 7, go to the end, type 2 slashes and say uh, converting hours to minutes. And if we had actually, read anything that we were doing here, it would make sense to us what we were doing. Like this is a program that actually has some code in it, but this is how you write a comment. A comment in programming is like kind of just text that you're writing for yourself to explain what you were doing, or for somebody else who's reading it. It doesn't actually do anything. So they wanted me to put a comment here, and then they want me to click the button that says check, and they'll just make sure that it worked. And so they checked my code and they gave me credit because this is blue and I have a blue check mark up here. So I click the next one and align the code in line 4 so that each statement is on a separate line. Oh, so like this is just written badly. So they wanted us to kind of follow the good format of how to write this. So like this should be kind of moved in and oops, this should be like that. We don't need a space there. And so they're just trying to talk us into or um, into making this formatted a little bit nicer. Again, if we had read the section, we'd probably understand um, what they wanted. But, they wanted us to kind of make that look a little prettier, and then we'll click the check button again. We'll get points. And we got points. So we have that. So if I were to, so we did one section there. There's actually 6 sections, and you might think like, oh, that's a lot of sections. But some of the sections don't have exercises or they don't have challenge exercises. And so they're pretty quick to get through. So like this one, we have participation activities. Um, we do have some kind of challenge activities there to do as well, where we're going to be writing some programming. But yeah, so anyway, that's the work that you do in Zybooks is like this. And there's ways to see how many points you have. Again, I'm not a student, so I can't really see exactly what you see. But as you're doing these, you'll be able to see, which sections you haven't completed yet and which ones are, you're missing activities in. And so you've got to, before the end of next week, do the first 3 of these. So there's 3 chapters here, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. And, you'll need to do all 3 of them. And so that's the reading and the homework activity, or the reading and the homework assignments in Canvas correspond to those, the participation activities and the challenge activities in the Zybooks assignments. So that's where you get a lot of practice, and um, that's why the book is not optional for this class. And there's not like a free textbook that works like this, and so that's why we have to use this one that costs money, unfortunately. Now, in addition to that, you generally are going to have labs every week. And so the first lab 0, which is up here in module 1, this is basically getting software installed on your own computer. Um, and ideally for this class, you would have a Windows PC or you'd have a Mac PC. or you could have a like Linux would also be fine. The thing that's tough is if you have only a Chromebook, then your life will be tough in this class because you won't be able to install software on it. You'll have to kind of use an online platform to do your programming, and that's, more trouble. And there's also not a good free online platform now compared to previous days. So if you have a Chromebook, you can do this class, but your life will be easier if you can get a hold of a Windows or a Mac computer to take this class. And in Lab Zero, what this covers is it's going to be um, installing Eclipse. And Eclipse is the program that we use to write our programs. And so this first lab is going to be to get the Eclipse IDE installed. And there's written instructions here. And, I kind of pointing at specific things here in the pictures to try to walk you through this whole process. Or there's a video, right? So like if I was using a Windows PC, I would probably just click on like the Windows link here, um, which, hello, everybody. So this link here, I should record a new one. I record them periodically, um, and it looks like it's been a while since I recorded one for a PC. Uh, but anyway, so there's this video here, which is a Zoom video, and I will go through the entire steps of the lab. And so if you follow it, I'm just going to click through. Let's probably mute myself. So if you go through, I navigate to the website, I go through this install process. Um, I go through like how to create a Java project. And like this is going to be a program that prints out the words "Hi, Mom," and and then I show you um, how to turn in a program. So like these videos cover like the entire assignment, and that's true like all throughout the semester. So like if I go back to the modules, and so like this lab zero is just getting the software installed and just making sure it works. And then lab one is going to be like writing a little program, a couple of lines, very easy. And then like lab two is also going to be writing a program. And these are all due at the end of next week. And if I go to lab two, again, you'll see video of lab two. And so like if I head over here, this one's on YouTube, then you see this is a 26-minute video. And I'm gonna just again, I'm gonna go through the whole thing here. So like I'm reading the lab. Then this is Eclipse, which you would have installed because you did lab zero, which was installing Eclipse. And you see all the buttons you click, you see exactly what to write. Um, go through it. And then at the very end, I'm going to be showing you again how to turn it in. Now, the only thing about this is that in that first video, right, the one that was called like Lab 00, there were different videos if you're using Windows, if you're using Mac, or if you're doing it on a Chromebook. But on the later labs, it's not going to have like three separate videos. There's only going to be one video. So, if I'm using like my Mac and you're using a Windows PC, it's gonna like a couple things might look slightly different, but like when you get to the point of trying to turn in your program. But overall, the video should walk you through the entire lab. And so every lab should have a video that walks you through it. And it should also have written instructions. So you can follow the written instructions and try to do it. And if you're stuck, you can watch the video, and the video should tell you what to do. Of course, if you don't, if you need extra help or like you can't get the software installed or anything like that, um, then that's what those Zoom hours are for. So yeah. So every week, that's what you got. You got a bunch of Zybooks work and you have some labs. And you got to do module one, module two, and module three by the end of next week. Um, yeah, do we have any questions about like what we've seen? I know we only have one person here, but do we? Do we have any questions about what we've seen? All right. So again, if you look at this office hours link here, you'll see that Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday are when I'm planning on being on Zoom, and there's a Zoom meeting link there. So I'll be back tomorrow at 2 or tomorrow at 1 o'clock on the Zoom link. Also, between now and then, actually, probably going to eat lunch and then fix the site up. I'm going to make the course site more organized, and when you come to the homepage is not going to look like this anymore. It's going to be like have links to all the stuff that you're supposed to do during the first week. So it'll be more organized than this, and it'll have the link for tomorrow's Zoom on here and so on. So yeah. Wait, one more thing. Should have mentioned it before, but I didn't. So this one, the assignment that's called Introduce Yourself, that's due July 3rd. Make sure you do that. Um, that's due Friday, and that's the one that's basically going to be verifying that you're in the class. So all you got to do is show up here, and it says you are to introduce yourself to the class. You just write a couple sentences about yourself, like you can say what your major is, what kind of job you want, whatever it is. Um, just verify you're a real person. So we had one person do it, 15 minutes ago. And that's all we got so far. But everybody needs to do it by Friday. Okay. So I will make sure that that is prominent on the updated page to tell you to do it. And I'll send out announcements about having to do that as well. Um, all right. So anyway, I think that's it for today. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording and